Hello. Something I've been working on is GoPro live streaming. Firstly, I want to show how it works and what's the problem I'm trying to solve. And it applies, I use GoPro 10, and but as far as I know, as of November 2024, it applies to all the latest action cameras as well, like DJI Action 4 and such. I think they still work similar way. So basically, the problem is I'm outside, not inside like I am now. So when I'm inside, the way it works, if you fire up GoPro, and it will want to use your phone. So you need a phone, you need a GoPro, and through the phone, it will want to connect to Wi-Fi. So if you're at home, you have a Wi-Fi, it's fine. But if you're outside, GoPro would wanna have a Wi-Fi again, and you're outside. And what can you do? So you have a phone, you make a hotspot, so which is like a small Wi-Fi around you, around your phone, and that is your Wi-Fi. So you give that hotspot Wi-Fi to your GoPro, and it can do its thing. But the problem is I'm outside, and but the particular use case for me is I will be riding the bicycle. So GoPro is mounted on the bicycle. I go from place to place, and that means internet is unpredictable. One place the reception is good, another place it's not so good. And so basically, my GoPro 10 is pushing Full HD 5000 kilobits per second maximum, and it will ask me for Wi-Fi. So I'll make a Wi-Fi with my phone basically, and the problem is SIM card internet speed will vary. As an example, from like 1000 to 8000, but could be anything really, depending on your location. And so basically, GoPro will be pushing 5000 kilobits per second. And so if what's available to you is 8000, so you have 8000, can 5000 fit within 8000? Yes. So that's probably fine, and you have no issues. And then, but then you know, 100 meters later, you go to another location, situation changes, your phone reception isn't as good, so what you have available is 1000, for example, and then you are still pushing your 5000, and like GoPro is trying to push a lot through small, slow internet with small bandwidth. So there's a good chance it will disconnect and like glitch out and stuff. So that is the problem I'm trying to solve. So again, I'm outside on the bicycle, I'll go from place to place. So if you're inside, that's probably not a problem. And if you're outside and you found a good spot and you just stay in that one spot, you're probably good as well. So this problem is only when you want to go from place to place. So like for whatever reason, like even in one place, there's a good chance like it can vary. So you just want to see if you can make this more reliable. And I looked into what's available, and I will tell you. So before I switch, I would say I was inspired by that, live streaming backpack and like what they do. And but I wanted, like, I already had some things, and I don't really want to buy specialized hardware. They usually buy like a very specialized piece of hardware that's encoded and buy a bunch of routers and stuff, so you can use multiple SIM cards, and then they use like a cable, so it's like you mount your camera on your shoulder, and then you have all this cable sticking out, and I'm like, this is a bit like, can I improve on that? basically. Can I like dumb it down? Like I just want to have a GoPro on my bike without any cables. And like, is there, we live in future. Is there anything I can do to just make it more reliable? And let's keep it for now. And basically, these are the ideas. So some people throw these words around, and basically, let me zoom in a bit more. So basically, your GoPro, what you want to be pushing the 5,000 like, or more. If some of them you can unlock and push 8. Starting GoPro 11, you can push 8,000, I think. But usually it's like 5. Maybe some of them can do 6. And anyhow, so you wanna be pushing. That's kind of like a lot. So I would say, some people say, well, for this kind of live streaming, 6,000 is like pretty good. Like if you can, over 4G, if you can push 6,000, that's pretty nice, reliably. So that's the goal. I'd say roughly 6,000 over SIM card. So long story short, again, you're outside, you have your phone, you have your GoPro. So some people say use HEVC or H.265. So the normal one GoPro can do is H.264. So don't worry about it too much. And people say use half. So the idea is that you can use half. It's like at the same visual quality, use half of the bitrate. So if you want to push 5,000 and that gives you a certain video quality, there's a chance that we don't know how you're gonna do it. I'll tell you later how exactly, like the different options available. But if you use HEVC, the good HEVC that actually can compress it very well, and the promise is like what we're supposed to get is like half that bitrate. We're gonna be sending less stuff over your SIM card, and the problem. Let me go back. So when you have 1,000 in the worst case available to you as an example, and you push in 5. So if you change this to sort of 2,500, that's already an improvement. You're pushing less. Okay, so you apply that, and then I would say you wanna use bonding, and that there's different versions of it, like channel bonding, network bonding, like. But basically, the basic idea is that it allows you to combine multiple SIM cards. So you send the signal in parallel, like split it into multiple SIM cards, and having like more than one SIM cards, like I use 2 as an example, is already like an improvement. So for example, if each SIM card has 1,000 available at its worst, if you have 3 of them and you are pushing 3,000, let me zoom in a bit. Right, so in the worst case scenario, you have 3,000 kilobits per second available to you, and you already applied HEVC, which made your bitrate 2,500. So you're good. You create a channel of bandwidth of 3,000 and you push in 2,500. It's gonna work, no problem. So a little note about this one is that many people use various. So in my case, I use Netgear Nighthawk M1, and there's already like M2, M5, F6, and and there's other like brands and stuff, but many people use this one. It's like a bit older, so it's a bit cheaper to get, and it's supposedly like it can like, even from one SIM card it can like get more internet. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think some people think that, so you can get more because it will use multiple channels for like your, what's it called, tower, like, anyhow, doesn't matter how, but basically I'm trying to keep it very high level. So again, you use half to make half a bitrate, you use bonding to combine multiple SIM cards, and even to get more out of one SIM card, you can get a good router around it and put it in the router. And then another thing that you want is the dynamic slash adaptive bitrate. That means even if in the worst case there's still not enough internet, then it will like adjust. So if you are pushing 2500 and even that's too much, like it can lower it. So there is a way, there is an easy way on the phones. I would say on Android and iPhone, if you just use phone instead of GoPro, it's really easy right now. There's some apps that can like do all of this and it's free. Well, this one you have to get yourself. And then another thing that you need is the disconnect protection. So in the worst case, if you do all this stuff and still it's not enough, and you disconnect, so you're restreaming it through the laptop or computer at home or somewhere in the cloud, and basically when everything to the left of here falls down, disconnects, your battery dies, etc., this computer at home is actually still running. And it's this is important because to use some of these things you need this like extra computer that will kind of like allow using all of this stuff, and I will get to that in a minute. But basically yeah, so this is at home. So in my case I have a laptop at home that's like always on, and I can just like remotely control it to quickly start OBS on it, and it will just go straight to YouTube. Okay, so that was a lot to take in. Again, all we care is about to do half a bitrate. We use bonding to combine multiple SIM cards. We get a good router, at least one, like I use just one. And you need this adaptive dynamic bitrate in disconnect protection. So you can have some of these or all of them, depending on what you have available, like how much money you want to spend and such. So, and next, now how you actually, a bit more detail, like how you would actually do it. So those were like high level ideas, but now a bit more detail. So if you have an iPhone, you unlock, because just recently, relatively recently, new app came out called Moblin. So this app is really good and it's like actively developed. And about, I think 4 or 5 months ago, they built in this killer feature. So actually, with every time you wanna encode video and send somewhere, you send it to a server. And so Moblin, actually, no, let me go back a little bit. So imagine, just forget about the GoPro. You have just the iPhone and it has a camera, and you outside and you want to do all the stuff I mentioned, like improve how good it has the same problems as GoPro essentially. And so, long story short, Moblin has all those things built in I've mentioned. Like it will do HEVC, it will do dynamic bitrate, it will do bonding, and what else? And there's more it can do. So Moblin can do it, and for Android, IRL Pro can do similar things as Moblin, like bonding, HEVC, dynamic bitrate. So phone, wow, that's great, and you can just do it with the phone. But can you do it with the GoPro? Like I want to do a GoPro. I don't want to mount a phone and like it's not that great mounting a phone on a bicycle, and it's like doesn't have the same stabilization and such, and it's like a bit harder to mount. There's like different places I wanted to mount on the bike. So basically I do want to go with the GoPro. So the way it works, there's a way for Moblin to set up I don't know, I think it's called ingest RTMP server. Basically it will run the server right on the phone. Okay, and you can, if you are all on the same network, you're so in my case I have this router, or you can have, like, doesn't matter how you make this, like you have your little Wi-Fi around you. You're outside on the bicycle, you have some kind of Wi-Fi, doesn't matter how you do it, and you all share, like all of these devices are on the same Wi-Fi, that your local Wi-Fi around your bicycle. And that means they can like talk to each other. And so if RTMP server is running on your phone, GoPro is on the same Wi-Fi, and it can just stream to your phone, and then this Moblin app will actually grab that feed from the GoPro, like apply half to it, do half a bitrate, do the dynamic, like it will like just use it as a source, and it will apply all those cool things, and it will so as an example here I have it will send 2500. It can, you know, it can do more, but just because I had that as an example, like, so it will half, like it will have the bitrate, so it will keep the original GoPro quality. And what you would need is something called SRT LA server. If you want to do multiple SIM cards, you need to get this server. So in my case, maybe I'll skip the details. Like many people use something called Belabox, and it just provides you for the $10 US a month. You can get it, and it's just the URL basically. So it will give you this URL. You put the URL into Moblin, so Moblin will just send the signal through multiple. So in my case, I have a SIM card in the phone, and I have another SIM card in this mobile router, and there's a way Moblin is running on your phone, and it's on the Wi-Fi from the router, and it will like automatically just use those two SIM cards basically, and it will like push it to the server, just to this URL, and then your home computer, you set up OBS with media source that's pointing to that SRT server, and basically your home computer can see that server, like what you broadcast in that full stream, and it will just like restream it to the YouTube. It's not shown here, but actually YouTube doesn't, like most of the normal websites, usually they don't accept SRT, so we use SRT just for ourselves to like actually compress that signal, like send it through multiple SIM cards. That's what's it for. And then but YouTube, it accepts RTMP at like H.264. So HEVC is H.265, but the YouTube, Facebook, and so on, like they use older technology to be more compatible. They use RTMP with H.265, so that requires more bitrate, and so on. So, and the idea, actually, I don't think I mentioned this, but your computer at home is supposedly on a good, reliable, stable internet, but everything that's with you on the bicycle, the goal is again to like compress that signal to smaller bitrate, because what you have very little internet available through SIM cards sometimes, and that's what will stabilize it. And then they are sent through like in parallel, like through multiple SIM cards through to this SRT LA. So sometimes SRT is the protocol, but the LA part is the actual multiple SIM cards part of it, as far as I understand. Okay, there was a lot to take in, so let's try to wrap it up. So actually, if you have iPhone, this is what you can do. You unlock. In my case, I don't have iPhone, but I do have a MacBook, so you can run Moblin on a MacBook. So in my case, I have Android phone, so that will create a hotspot, and then I will connect this guy with a network cable directly into MacBook, and I'll put the two of these into my backpack. And same deal, GoPro is streaming to Moblin to MacBook that's running RTMP server, and then Moblin will anyhow do the same stuff from here essentially. The only negative thing is like there's more like it's a bit heavier. Like if you just have iPhone, you use that, but I have to carry the whole MacBook. It's not a big deal, but there's some positive things about it. Is that I have an option. If I want, I can just connect a GoPro with HDMI or USB to this, and yeah, and I can use in sometimes if I get off the bicycle, I can actually use MacBook's own camera, and I can do just whatever because it's basically the whole desktop available to you. You can do whatever, go nuts. So in my case, I have MacBook and I have PC laptop at home, and I recommend having that PC as a restream to the actual YouTube. I tried to swap them around, and there was some issues with like audio crackling and such. Anyhow, let's just keep going. So that's a lot to take in, but hopefully you can follow along. Hopefully it makes sense. And then that was for the case when you have iPhone or Mac. Like I'm imagining that some people don't. So in that case, you can at least have a simplified version of that would be if you just use one SIM card and you don't use what? HEVC? Yeah, you don't use HEVC. You can at least use RTMP server of some kind to have a disconnect protection. At least like if the GoPro goes down, like if all of this goes down, your home computer is still going. Like it will switch scenes. Like OBS will, you can set it up to switch scenes, and it will show something else, whatever you like. It will show a message, okay, disconnected, reconnecting, or something like. And something I've been playing around as well is actually having a laptop with me, and on that laptop I can run RTMP server. Let's say it's a Windows laptop or something, and I run OBS, and so GoPro will be streaming to this thing, and like this signal, just I wanted to mention, like GoPro will have no problem streaming to your either iPhone or your laptop or your Windows PC or what have you. Like if you have your little Wi-Fi around you on a bicycle, and you like GoPro will not like disconnect unless there's some major radio interference, like and that means like usually if it disconnects, like it's a bit finicky. Like on the phone you have to, it takes it a while to reconnect, and it like ask this and that, like it needs to, it's kind of slow. So I noticed if you, that was one of the early ideas, if you just like, there's a way to run just a local RTMP server. I think I found some Node.js server. I think it's pretty good. It's now like it's really easy to set it up, and OBS can see that, and basically that's making GoPro a bit more stable. It doesn't disconnect as much, and then it's you can have RTMP. I tried there's a service called IRL hosting. So if you just rent again for 10 US dollars, they just give you the URL essentially that you can put in your OBS and then in your home OBS, and then basically you just use the RTMP server, because this one doesn't need bonding, it doesn't need yeah. So that's a bit simplified version of it, but again, I think next one is same deal, but you can swap that RTMP for SRT, and you can. That's a bit extreme example. I wouldn't be. I think I played around, but like it will still work. But you can push a lot less. So that's actually option. I think 500 kilobits per second half is like as low as you can go. Otherwise, it starts to glitch out. So I think I try. It's like it's still watchable. It's not amazing, but if you don't use bonding and you just have a Windows laptop, and actually the limitation I found with Windows, like when you run OBS on Windows, or on Mac, like any OBS on any laptop, really, it allows you to use SRT, but it doesn't have the dynamic bitrate. So, and that's like very big deal. I feel like you do want it to like lower bitrate. Otherwise, if you, and it kind of like, so that means you have to really like pick the bitrate, and like, let's say, like I said, the lowest you can go is 500 kilobits per second. If you put it in, like, it will still work. Where in the places with the very bad connection, it will still work. But then if it doesn't, then it's already unwatchable, and then you can set it up to automatically switch scenes and say that like it disconnected or something like BRB. Usually they say BRB or low bitrate, but otherwise it's the same deal. Again, your home computer is always set up to push higher bitrate. Like as an example, I have it set to 5,000. Okay, is that it? And then actually, with this setup, I played around with this setup. Or if you have any laptop with you, the benefit of it, or like when you're actually riding the bicycle, is that let's say your GoPro battery goes down. I have a OBS running on my laptop with me, and it detects that that's down, and I have that NOLBS. There's a software called NOLBS that stands for Nginx something low bitrate, automatic low bitrate scene switcher, I think. So it's like you can set it up, it will like, it can do, anyhow, it's a bit out of scope of this video, but it will switch scenes for you. So if GoPro goes down, I have a phone mounted on my handlebars as well. It switches to that phone that was already streaming, and then I can, let's say, swap a battery if I have extra batteries on the GoPro, and then once GoPro goes back, it automatically switches to that. So let's say all of your GoPros died, you ran out of batteries, you can continue with the phone, or in the worst case, you can even get your laptop, open it up, and like use your laptop's camera, and then just say something, like say to the stream, I ran out of batteries and such, and then I had a case where actually a laptop battery died as well, and all I had is a phone. So on the phone, I quickly switched to another app. Let's say Lyrics Broadcaster as an example. You can quickly switch between like different URLs. So I quickly switch the whole phone to this, and like just continue streaming. Like all of these things go down, you can in the worst case use your phone. If phone is dead, then you done. Like if you run out of cameras that still have battery. So yeah, that's the setup. Maybe to summarize, it was a lot to take in. Again, a few interesting notes. So after actually I've built it, so oh yeah, there was one slide I kind of skipped. I skipped a few slides, but yeah, in my case, that's just I wanted to show you that GoPro usually wants your phone Wi-Fi, and you know, behind the Wi-Fi is a SIM card, and GoPro would usually, my GoPro 10, it would try to push Full HD at 5000, 720p at 2500, and a 480p at 1500. And it's actually doing a bit of dynamic bitrate. Like I can see it can adjust, it can lower if it feels like it's dropping frames. And yeah, and maybe yeah, you're outside, so with you have a little home away from home. So you have a GoPro, you have a phone, you have a laptop or something, and like in the backpack, and you can use all these things. They, I usually, you can have a variation of it, but usually I would say have one Wi-Fi for all of, like they all should be on one Wi-Fi, either hotspot or mobile router, Nighthawk M1, and then that way they can like talk to each other. So, and then that's your own small little world. And then I actually make many things I record on each laptop, so it gets me like if there's something really good, like I have a higher quality recording. The only negative thing is that when there's multiple things encoded in the video, so it might degrade quality. So you have to work out like how to do it. But so it's less, so it doesn't look too bad. So currently where I'm at is I have a GoPro, and I've noticed if I'm riding a bicycle, actually 5000 Full HD 3, sorry, Full HD 30 FPS at 5000 kilobits per second, it's not that great. Like it's I have a lot of artifacts on my video, it's all blocky, and the reason for that is that's not a lot of bitrate when, because you the way compression works is there's less differences between frames. It can like optimize, but if each frame is very different and there's a lot of trees and such, it requires a lot of detail, so there's not enough of that bitrate. It starts to simplify some of the areas. So currently I'm thinking, oh, actually after making all this hard work and like working it out and building and trying, like I did lots of tests with various setups, I'm thinking what's the best way to raise this bitrate. Or another option is to actually, if we go back to maybe here, let's say I have a MacBook with me in my backpack, I have an option to connect GoPro with a HDMI cable, and that way I feel like GoPro itself will be more or less, or it's not uncompressed, but it's almost close to uncompressed, I would say. So when you have GoPro, you have to use media mod, and you have to use this cable. It will go into Camlink or something like capture card. It's a thing you have to build, but you will get rid of this limitation of 5000 kilobits per second. But interestingly, from the beginning, I wanted to really simplify, kind of like these people when they have a backpack and they have all these cables, and I thought, can't you just figure out how to make this wirelessly? So, like I said, GoPro 10 cannot do it, but I think starting GoPro 11, you can raise it to 8000. So I'm curious how that looks like. So maybe that's an option. And with Moblin, there's an option actually to if you have Moblin and you have, let's say, DJI Osmo Action 4, there's a way to set even higher bitrate. So DJI Osmo Action 4, I think, allows you to send 6000 max from official app, but if you connect it to Moblin, it will allow you go all the way up, I think, to like 20,000 kilobits per second, or like some people recommend setting maybe 10. It's pretty good. Like that's what I would like to test if I can get my hands on DJI Osmo Action 4. So yeah, so basically this is where it's at with me. And then something else I wanted to mention, like one of my goals was to see if this could be like can work with any action camera, which it can, this setup. And the key, I just wanted to emphasize that the key is Moblin having this RTMP server. Like not many apps have this. Just today I found out that Prism app, I think it's Prism or Prism app has this feature, but it's like limited at only 720p. When Moblin it allows to push higher bit rates. So just need to test it some more. It's really new technology, so many people I feel like they don't know about it or like don't fully understand it. So I thought if I put together some diagrams, it will make it a bit easier for people to get their heads around this thing. And yeah, a few last words is that another thing I wanted to make it like is easy. How can I say? You don't really need a lot of special hardware. So with Belabox, you get this small computer called Orange Pi or like some small computer, and it's like you cannot really use it for anything else. It's still pretty good. Like it's still really good option if you want to go that way. But the problem is that you're gonna spend $200-300 on that small computer that you cannot really use for anything else, and you're gonna buy a bunch of routers which you can get the cheaper ones, and you still will have all these cables. But Belabox it does have a feature where you can have uh, you can have GoPro DJI Action to stream via Wi-Fi, and then it's essentially the same thing. So I think uh, what Moblin in particular allowed me to do, Moblin essentially has all those things the Belabox or like that streaming backpack, it uses the more expensive Live View Solo thing. Essentially that thing is doing all these things, right? So it has the same features. I'm not sure about have, but it does do bonding, it does do dynamic bitrate, you will have disconnect protection. So Live View Solo and Belabox are a bit specialized hardware that give you all of these things, when Moblin is essentially an iPhone app, and it has all the same features, and it's very new, and there's essentially one main guy who's developing it, which is great. We should all be really thankful to him. And just like I said, only 4 months ago, I think they put in this feature where it actually allows you running this RTMP server, and that is what allowing us to connect GoPro to it. And this app itself again is doing bonding, dynamic bitrate, HEVC, and essentially you don't have any specialized hardware. I do want to test it some more, but what I really like is that you just use your normal things. You use your iPhone as usual. You use it for all the things you would usually use it, and yeah. So I think it's really great that you don't have to, like, it's a really simple setup, and I think it's an improvement. I thought, wow, this is really great. Like, if people understand it, you don't really have to have this crazy streaming backpack, or you can just have a few things, iPhone, and then this mobile router. You can have another phone instead of this, something with a SIM card, and there's a way to make it work. Anyhow, I think that's all I have to say. So, did we? I don't really know how to stop, but again, after saying all of that, like, and I go back to the beginning, was this like, how hard is it to make an improvement? Like, initially all you had is a GoPro and a phone, and you push it direct to YouTube, and it was like relatively simple. So with Moblin, all you have to do is you get another Wi-Fi router with a SIM card that will allow you using two SIM cards, and then Moblin already has dynamic bitrate HEVC and so on. And then all you have to do is to get SRT server, which I suggest you get the Belabox SRT server, $10 US a month, and that way you can build all of this stuff. And yeah, and then you would need at least one computer at home or in the cloud, and that computer has to be a server, meaning like it's not gonna go to sleep, and you would just set up that NOLBS software on it that will allow you like remotely controlling your computer, and it will allow you to have a disconnect protection for this whole thing. And then one thing is that you essentially have to go live. You go live on the GoPro, you go live on the phone, and then you go live at home. Like, that's the negative part of it, is that there's many steps. Like, it's a bit more complicated, but what it allows you is actually makes it more reliable. Super reliable, I would say. But yeah, the negative is definitely you have to set all that stuff up. All right, let's leave it there. Hopefully it makes sense. And yeah, good luck setting this up. Bye.